Okay, we're right at 3 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone so much for joining. We're so excited to have Kim Johnson here with us today. Kim has been with LearnKey for over 12 years and has helped thousands of teachers, counselors, and customer employees and students in obtaining industry certification through utilizing LearnKey learning products. She currently leads multiple teams that support the implementation and ongoing customer and student support of LearnKey learning products to school districts, nonprofits, corporations, and the Veterans Administration. Kim is passionate about working with school districts and educators to provide resources that support and engage all students at every learning level. And we're so excited to have Kim discuss with us a little bit more about LearnKey's remote compatibility. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, Kim.
Thank you, Hannah. I will. And do you need to stop sharing your screen for me to take a look?
I will go ahead and do that, yes. All right, are you able to share?
Okay, hopefully you can see my screen now.
Perfect. Yep.
Loading. Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for the intro, Hannah, and I really appreciate Hannah and the team and Certiport for conducting this training today and allowing us to kind of share out some resources that we've been sharing for the last couple of weeks with a lot of school districts who are running into this, and certainly a lot of teachers who are running into how is this going to work? How am I going to launch this? We've got a lot of remote capabilities that we're going to go over today and just kind of show you the resources and what we have to offer. So a quick history for LearnKey, just so everybody is aware, we've been around for over 30 years now creating video-based content. And yes, our first video was actually on a beta VHS tape. And yes, it would have been WordPerfect back then. Everything that we deliver is online at this point, and we work with a lot of schools across the nation, universities, and businesses as well to help individuals get certified and then just gain a knowledge base to help improve employability in general. Our primary focus is IT, business, and soft skills. And then, yes, as Hannah mentioned, we work with VA regions as well and disabled veterans to help them get back into the workforce or go through a fast track certification program, launching into a new career as well. After LearnKey's actually partnered with Certiport for over 10 years now, and then in conjunction with that, we partnered with Certiport and Gmetrics. And what changed for us in April of 2016 is that we partnered with Gmetrics and Certiport in an entirely new way. We all know Gmetrics has amazing practice tests in helping prepare your students for those certifications, and they were looking to launch a new online student portal. So we were the first vendor to work with them on that portal, which allowed us to help enable your students so that they don't have to go to 9 different portals to access their courseware or their training, and then also their practice tests. And then with Certiport, it made sense for you guys to purchase all of your learning content and practice content through one provider, which is meaning your Certiport rep. We would find that some teachers are creating their own lessons and launching PDFs and teacher websites and pulling in YouTube videos and really, trying to map to your state standards and trying to map to your certification objectives. So in us partnering this, we're an authorized partner and provider, and so we create the learning content. So now in one portal, your students have access to both their learning and their practice, and they can easily kind of bounce back and forth. But for you as an instructor or teacher, that makes it so much easier for you to manage one license or 2 licenses in one portal under Gmetrics administrative portal. As far as what LearnKey covers and what we offer, here is a list of all the courses that we include and what are available on the Gmetrics platform today. The only ones that you'll see with an asterisk next to them, those ones are coming soon. So we're still in process creating some of these newer Microsoft technology certifications. And IC3, we're currently working on the new GS6. We're really excited. We've released already the level 1, and level 2 is currently in production, and then soon level 3 will follow. But as you can see, we cover probably 85% of what Certiport offers. The only titles you will not see on here are Apple, Unity, and EC Council. Those are provided and they offer their own curriculum, but otherwise we've got a lot of information and a lot of support here for you with some curriculum online. So the first thing that we're going to discuss today, and really what we're all here to talk about, is remote capabilities. And I know a lot of school districts have been passing out Chromebooks. They're a cheaper version or an inexpensive version of what the students can at least learn on and access from home. What we're running into, and all of you that I'm hearing from, are, how do they learn Adobe, or how do they learn Microsoft Office on a Chromebook, which is not capable of downloading the software? What I am here to showcase is the LearnKey courseware. The Chromebook will still pull up all the courseware components and pieces. And in our course, we're going to include both the in-app technology. So we integrate with Gmetrics and allow that in-app technology, which is going to utilize the software. But what we've been doing over the last 60, 90 days are creating simulations so that your students can access and still learn at least something from home, and visually walk them through where it's located in the ribbon and still mapping to those objectives. So we're going to go through these today. I'm going to show you the courses live, kind of how it works, explain a simulation, because I feel like sometimes a simulation is kind of confusing. What does that mean? What does that look like? So we'll showcase that as well. So within our courseware, the only asterisks that you'll see here are the ones that if you're utilizing the student project workbooks, which come with the course as well, that is the only time that it would require the use of the software. But I've got a cool thing that we can talk through on how you guys could turn those into your teacher resources and utilize it for your instruction. Okay. Just a quick overview of what a LearnKey course normally kind of entails. We have, yes, testing in here. We've got exercise labs, and then we've got the video-based training that's really going to walk them through, every piece of those objectives, but the software. And so 85–90% of the time we're trying to showcase the software so your students are familiar with Format Painter, or they're familiar with all of the tools located in Adobe as well. As we develop these courses, we've decided, because of the feedback we've received from teachers, that we need to break these down into smaller lessons. So historically, we would have created, a big chunk of video, or an hour to 2 hours worth of video to cover everything, and then you go in and test them after. And what we ended up doing, especially with Microsoft Office, Adobe, and IC3, is breaking them into smaller bite-sized chunks. So you'll see anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes of video. And then right after, we come in with an exercise lab or a lab to just see what they've retained and what information they've retained. And yes, for those of you thinking, well, how am I going to track all this? It is grading all of this in the system. And these are reporting features that you'll have access to as the students go in and complete this online at home. So next, everything is, again, mapped to the certification objectives. What we do in each of the courses is try to come up with a theme. So it may be food truck, it may be technical support and building a technical support team. So we want to continue that theme throughout the process so that it's consistent and then matches to the certification objectives and the projects in the workbook as well. So for those students who do have access to a PC or Windows-based computer or device, or crossing all of our fingers that we all can get back into class, say after winter break, or that enables our students to get back into the classroom, we do have the in-app technology both for our Adobe courses and the Microsoft Office courses. And so once that's available, the nice thing is it's going to be in that same course. So your students will have both technologies available to them, both simulations and the in-app labs. With our courseware, we also include PDF student workbooks, glossary, key terms, lesson plans, which I'll showcase here in just a bit live. But we want to make sure we include additional resources that you guys can utilize and help you kind of map this out and navigate through this time in this year. We've got so many things new that we're navigating through this year. Here's a sample of a lesson plan for Microsoft Office. You can see here on the left, it's outlining the lesson. It's going to showcase the video time, how long each video clip takes. If there are exercise labs, how long it would take the students to complete those. Here are the topics in the video-based training, and then we've got objectives, so we're mapping to the objectives so you can see where it's covered. The name of the exercise labs, and then on the right-hand side here where the workbook projects and files are located. So as I was training with a large district based out of Florida a few weeks ago, we discussed how is your classroom going to run, and And what is this going to look like? And she mentioned to me that she was really going to be running every class period the same, but virtual. So she said, I've got to create, 15 to 20 minutes of instruction, and now I've got to map it online and then, take roll and run this all as an online classroom. And with that, we found that these projects that we've already built into the course or into the student project workbook, they can use as instructions. So the teachers, all of you have access to all of these, and you're always going to have access to the software that I've heard from so far. And these are already mapped to the course and already mapped to the objectives. And these are all built projects that I'll show you, and you guys can go in and utilize these as part of your instruction if you choose. So in her case, we were talking about the students going in, watching the video clips, and then she would go through the online instruction and complete the projects live and answer any questions that they may have about what she's working on. As far as the administrative portal and how you manage everything, so everything's done from the Gmetrics portal. So sometimes I'm explaining quite a bit, how is LearnKey different from Gmetrics and from Certiport? And for Gmetrics and LearnKey, you can manage this all in one portal. And so when you purchase a LearnKey license, this will, so to speak, land on your administrative account. So you ideally have like a Gmetrics practice test license and then a LearnKey license. And from there, it's the same code technology. So you issue codes to your students, they redeem it. You have access to reporting features and everything that you can manage on that side. Gmetrics does also offer, I'm hearing a lot about teachers and utilizing Canvas and that you want to launch it from Canvas. Gmetrics does offer an LTI connection there. So if you need more information on connecting Canvas, you can contact your Certiport rep and ask them for the LTI documentation so that your techs can kind of help you get that set up if you'd like. I'm going to include the instructions for creating an access code here, so because we're recording this today so that everybody can refer back to it. But also we can include a guide that's located in Gmetrics and in the portal as well. So these are just simplistic instructions on how to create an access code from the LearnKey license in the Gmetrics portal, which I'll show live here in just a minute as well. And then also the reporting features on how you pull reports after for specifically LearnKey courseware. We'll include here as well. Okay, as far as support, there are two different kind of areas that you can go in and from a support standpoint and who you address it to. If your students are having trouble logging in, or they need to change their password, or you need to manage their accounts from the licensing standpoint or a code, then you would contact Gmetrics technical support. If it's anything to do with curriculum, questions, feedback on a test question or anything like that, or you need a teacher download, that would be like a teacher workbook, that would be LearnKey Client Services. And I'm happy to say that we host live webinars twice a week. So we'll include this as well. And I believe it's on the certiport.com support page. And it's the same hyperlink every single week, every Tuesday and Thursday. It's anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. And we just talk through any questions you guys may have. And how to it's basically the same information we're going to go over today that we're addressing as well. So from there, I'd like to go live and show you how all of this works now. So let me share my screen one more time. And Hannah, let me know if you can't see my screen here in just a bit. Hopefully you can see Gmetrics in this.
Yep, looks great.
Okay, excellent. All right, so for those of you who are really new to Gmetrics and this whole thing and everything online, yes, you're going to go to gmetrics.net, and that's actually where your students are going to log in. If your students are accustomed to going to the desktop icon, the LearnKey courseware will not work on that, and they cannot redeem their code. So the one thing I'd say, make a note today, is make sure that your students are trying to redeem the code on gmetrics.net. If not, they'll try it on that desktop icon and get an error, or they'll think it's not working. So make sure that's first and foremost. And then if your students are brand new to Gmetrics, then they can just easily click sign up here and fill out the form, or they can link up their Clever, Gmail, or Microsoft account here. If they have an existing Gmetrics account, just tell them to go ahead and log in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in now. And they're just going to click on this redeem key button here on the left-hand side. So this is where they're going to enter the code that you would provide them as their instructor or teacher. And just, let them know when you send that code, make sure you remove all spaces before or after the code, because sometimes it'll see it as a character. So that's kind of a best practice. Make sure you put a little kind of note in there when you send the code over. As far as the courses, you can see I have quite a few courses assigned to my account. For today, I'm going to go in and use Word 2019 just to show you how it kind of looks here. Okay. So the breakdown of our courses, you can see, are mapped to the certification domains. So we go in and break these down per domain as well, so that it's really nice for your students once they get into the practice test, or say they take that certification exam. It's going to break down in those domains, 33% in this domain or 50% in this domain. They can easily come back into LearnKey and refresh or review information that they're struggling with in those particular domains. So that's the ideal piece, that they can jump back and forth all here in one portal. They can access their tests, practice tests, and their learning content in one place. As we expand each of these domains, you're going to see a lesson expand here. And we've got 4 areas here in the middle that I'll go through. And the first one is the video-based training. So this is Jason. He's our resident author and technical. I give him a big title. He is our resident certified expert. Honestly, he's achieved over 47 certifications that vary all the way from IC3 up through Cisco. He's incredibly intelligent and walks through all of these with a breeze, and he's really amazing. We also include Marie and Natasha within all of these courses, just to kind of insert something different or highlight some key component that we need to help the students understand when they're going for the exam. But in general, you'll see Jason is our author through most of these courses, and we'll walk them through each piece. And then as we're showcasing the software, he may keep this theme consistently going here. On the bottom, I do want to point out that we do have closed caption files here, so we can just enable these by just clicking English here. In some cases, we do have different languages, not a ton. I will say that right now because I get some of those requests. Your Gmetrics practice test will have more localizations and other language options once they get to the practice test. If by chance you are in the classroom or you are teaching from your classroom or a smartboard or a whiteboard, I would recommend, if you're going to use this as instruction, I have teachers who launch this in the classroom and we just expand this view, which will take up your entire smartboard or whiteboard. So this allows you to present. You could launch this video and then pause it and go into a discussion or a project from there. So this is where you may want to use part of this for your instruction, or you may go right into the project after the students have watched this if they're learning from home. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that feature. If your students are logging in from home, which a lot of them are going to be, you can see I have a check mark here on the left-hand side. So that's my indicator of where I've left off. And yes, I've already reviewed this video clip. So as your students are logging in and logging out, it's tracking everything that they're doing as they complete each area. So next is the exercise labs, and this has been the biggest thing that we've all had to clarify. We identified, and back in June, we identified between Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, we had over 240 in-app labs embedded in these courses. And those are all the ones that, yes, if they're on a Chromebook, are not going to work just because it's trying to interact with Word software or Microsoft Office software. So we went in and we have been creating for the last 60 to 90 days simulations, which are still giving your students a visual view of that and having them complete steps and tasks to make sure they understand where it's located. But it's actually going to be working on a Chromebook. What we've done is sent these over to Gmetrics, and they are uploading them this week as we speak. And so when your students go in and click on this item, we are going to give them 2 options here. So if they're on a Chromebook and a device that does not have Microsoft Office installed, they are going to click a simulation option or prompt that will come up. If they are on a Windows-based device and have Microsoft Office installed, they will move forward with this SMS technology. Ideally, we all know it's perfect. In a perfect world, our students would ideally go through the in-app technology and use those labs. But with all of these Chromebooks and all of these setups, we want to make sure they at least have something with the simulations. And I can show you in Outlook what those simulations are going to look like as well. Just to explain what a simulation is going to be. Embedded in each lesson as well, we have a student workbook, and these are optional resources. So these are PDF resources that are included in the lesson. So if you see these in here, we have anything from a fill in the blank to a full project here below. So these can be downloaded on the right-hand side and then opened with an Adobe Reader or the free version of a PDF reader, and then they can actually type in their answers here. So these are optional for all of you as instructors. If you want them to turn these in just to prove that they're watching the video clips or want them to turn in some type of assignment, these are here as well. So all your student has to do is download it and then do a print to PDF and just save this page or save this workbook and turn it in through a network sharing file folder. So these do need to be graded. And yes, probably your second question is, well, do you have answer keys? And it's a yes. So I'll show you where the answer keys are located in the administrative portal for all of the teacher resources here. As we get into the projects, this is where I'm saying that you guys can use this as instruction. So this is the name of the file. So we've pre-created a cover letter, and Jason would have covered this during the training portion as well and really covered this topic. This is exactly where you can launch from your video-based training into this project. So if you'd like to utilize these as part of your instruction, maybe even take it a little bit further, this is what we've discussed. Hey, at least you guys could have access to this as part of your reinforced learning as well. So if you just scroll down, there can be anywhere from 2 to 5 projects per lesson, and there may be even a little more in some of these other ones as well. So getting back to the course, now where do we download that file? These are all the zip files and where they're located and where you can download them right here from the student portal. And yes, we do include all of these on the teacher side in the administrative portal. For the students, we only include the start file. For the teacher download files, we include both the start file and the finished file so that you guys can see what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, as we go through each lesson, so each of these, the students can go in and complete what you choose for them to complete. The only thing is, yes, they would have to have access to Microsoft Office on the workbooks, so that's why these are additional resources, but not required. Everything else is being tracked and recorded for you, and you can easily pull reports on the Gmetrics admin portal and track what they're working on. The last area for each domain is a post-assessment. And this is just, let's assess what they've just learned in this domain. Let's see how much information they've retained. And we can take this test as many times as we need to. This is going to give your students the same prompt that we just saw in the exercise labs, where we're going to have a simulation option or a in-app option. So all of your Chromebook users are going to use the simulations. All of your Windows-based, again, will use the SMS. We would recommend they pass the post-assessment with 80% or higher. That's what we consider best practices when your end goal is the certification. We recommend they pass a minimum of 80% or higher on all the LearnKey post-assessments. And then depends on what you require for the practice test, but we recommend either 80 or 90% or higher in both training and testing mode is what our recommendations are. So with your students and you're trying to qualify them, hey, are they ready? It's really nice for them to use this as their baseline, and they can take it as many times as you want them to, and this is going to outline in the results once they submit it how much they've learned, but also how much they still need to go through and review. So if I had scored 50% here, I can review the missed questions and it will launch from this test all the questions that I missed. The difference is this time it's going to give me feedback about what I missed and why. And the reason we want to do that is we're really giving them this training mode and this option to really still better understand what I don't know and where everything's located. The good thing is it's not going to change that 50% score. So the 50% will still stay there. The idea is that they just need to learn what they didn't know and then go back in and take it and pass with 80% or higher. Okay. So again, this is just a nice qualifier to make sure that they're ready to move on to the practice test or that they're ready for the certification exam. You can see here on the right-hand side, I have a little yellow icon instead of a green check mark, and that just means I haven't passed with 80% or higher. So that's the student's indicator that they still need to complete this. Okay, so we'll kind of break these down per domain. And it really does depend on the domain and the objectives and what we need to cover on how big each domain is and how much content we're going to put in here. All right, I'm going to go through a few of the top areas here. So the first one is the glossary, and these are all key terms and definitions we feel would be extremely helpful when your students are sitting for that certification exam. They kind of need to know what format painter is. If they're not familiar with that term and they just call it the little paintbrush in the left-hand corner, it's not going to state it that way in the certification exam. So we really want them to know these terms. What Gmetrics has really done a phenomenal job of is kind of updating this for us, and we've created flashcard decks with them. So as your students go in and activate whatever terms they want to review, they can come in and go through the flashcard decks. So what we would like to offer to all of you as well, we include this in the teacher workbook. So you guys can copy and paste this, drop it into a Quizlet software, create match games, crosswords, whatever you would like to make out of this. These are here for you and just an additional resource to help reinforce that learning and preparation. All right, the activity report. I think most of us would say we don't like to get bombarded if we set milestones or goals for our students, that we don't want to constantly be having them ping us saying, hey, when am I going to pass? Did I pass on this date and time? So guess what? They have their own activity report right here. They get to go in and track all of their own, and it's tracking every single attempt that we're going in to do from the student side. So yes, you guys are going to see the same activity report on your side and all of your grade book, even by class period if you want to. I'll show you best practices on that. But the only time they would not see this on the activity report if they said, I completed a lab or I completed the post assessment and it's not showing up, they need to submit it for grading. There are two options when you go to close a test. We have a save and exit or grade and exit. And you need to make sure that they submit it for grading, otherwise it won't show up on the tests or the activity reports. Okay. Last area is the course resources. In the courses that we offer the lesson breakouts in here, you're actually going to see the embedded worksheets that go right with each of those lessons, but we also include the full student workbook here. So this is something that you can download, offer it on Canvas, share it through a network sharing file folder, so you guys can download these here or have your students download them to the Chromebook or whatever device they're working on. So you could essentially have them download this PDF and turn that in and fill it out as they go, or just a page at a time. It's up to you guys on how you want to run this. So that's kind of an overview of Word. I'd like to show the Outlook 2019 simulations, just so you guys can see what a simulation is supposed to look like and what it does look like and how it's different than an in-app lab. Okay, so here's a good example. So it looks like an image. This is not uploading or pulling up Outlook, but it's actually asking me to go in and complete things. And as I click on these, you can see it's giving me a hint of what I'm supposed to be doing. And this is why we consider it training mode. We want to give them hints and making sure they understand where everything's located in the ribbon, but still in a simulated environment they can access on a Chromebook. So if I click next, we're going to see, and because I'm in the exercise lab mode and training mode, it's giving me feedback instantly. So that one's not correct. I didn't complete all the steps, but I wanted to showcase at least what the simulations look like and how they're different than, say, an exhibit file. What we have in some courses too are an image and it's identifying A, B, or C, and it's saying identify where styles are located. So you may see something like that in an MTA course or one of our other courses, which is what we call an exhibit file. Anywhere we can insert some kind of visual learning and reinforcement, we're going to insert it as much as we can here. Okay, so when they go to submit, here's the save and exit or grade and exit. So if your students aren't ready to turn it in, so to speak, for grading, they would click save and exit, come back to it tomorrow and finish the test. If not, I'm going to submit it for grade and exit, and every time they're going to see a results page here. So you can see I've taken it multiple times due to trainings here. So that's the big difference between a simulation and what we've been creating versus an in-app lab. One thing I'd also like to highlight is a new course, and this one I think is really important. We at LearnKey are really passionate about employability, and I'm sure all of you, that's the end goal, is making sure these students have the knowledge base, but improving their employability is huge for them. So one certification that is new to Certiport and a new course to us this last year is Communication Skills for Business. And we collaborated with Jennifer Stubblefield, who, if any of you have attended Certified, she was Teacher of the Year this last year. She's an incredible teacher. She just retired of 27 years, and she was our author and has a business development degree or business degree as well. So she was the perfect teacher and author for us to collaborate on this topic. What this is helping all of you or all of your students is making them a little more well-rounded when they're going out into the workforce. I conduct a lot of interviews, and I'm telling you, a huge percentage of the students do not press their shirt. They're barely on time, and they also don't know how to address a CEO or an executive. And then second, they don't even research the website before they show up for the interview. So this is addressing all of those topics as we go through these courses, or even take it to certification level if you'd like. But this is addressing all of these topics and how to communicate once they're even in the workplace too. So I'd highly recommend for all the business teachers out there that are waiting for content or for these simulations to be added right away. This is a great place to start for anybody who needs to help get our students these skills. So these employability skills are really important. This one also includes the glossary and the key terms, and then in addition to that, a workbook. So this one will walk them through creating a resume, a lot of stuff, and a lot of resources here for the business teachers out there, or any other teachers like marketing or any that this could benefit for sure. So I think that's it, everything that I normally would walk through on the student side. I can showcase some of the different courses here. We've got CompTIA. I know Certiport doesn't offer the certifications, but there's a lot of tech teachers out there that may be looking for online curriculum for A+, Net+, Network+, and Security+. And yes, we do offer courseware, and you can purchase those through your Certiport representative as well. And those are all Chrome compatible also. We've got entrepreneur and small business, and then again, our new IC3 GS6 is here coming shortly, not too far behind that as well. One new course that we've just released is the Azure Fundamentals. So any of those technology teachers or administrator teachers that are teaching students how to manage the cloud-based software and hardware, this is a great course in foundation and certification to start with. So we do have this course as well. Okay. So I think we'll move to the administrative portal, and I'd really like to showcase how you kind of manage it from the instructor side, how you create codes, and how you pull reports as well. And then we'll kind of leave some questions and answers open here at the end as well. We'll leave a little time for that, and Hannah and I can open it back up. So the administrative portal, when you purchase a LearnKey license, you actually have the administrative portal, or Certiport would send you a link to just let you know that the LearnKey course has been updated or the license has been updated on your account. So when you log into the administrative portal in this home tab, you're going to see course resources here.
Kim, can I just interrupt?
Yes.
I can't see your screen anymore.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Let me reshare here. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So the administrative portal is, yes, www.gmetrics.net/manage. So if you currently have a Gmetrics account, you would already have an administrative account. And then if you would like to purchase a LearnKey license, then this is where it would arrive or land for you here. Once you do, you would see a course resources link here. And this is where all of your answer keys are going to be located. So these are the teacher workbooks where we've got all of those fill in the blanks already filled out for you. We've got the files, the zip file that you can download with all the start files and the finish files here. So I'll just kind of pull up this one and show you what it looks like. And then I'm just going to scroll down and kind of show you the fill in the blanks and all the answers that are filled in here. We've also got video time, so this is going to break down the video time for each clip. And then here you can see the answer keys are all filled out so that you can go in and grade or double check the students' PDFs that they're turning in. Any notes that we have specifically for the teacher, we're going to include in here as well. And then if I go to the back of the workbook, show you where the lesson plans start and all the resources we have in the back. So here are those glossary keys, terms and definitions. And again, you can copy and paste this and drop it into a Quizlet software and use them however you'd prefer. We also include keyboard shortcuts, and I feel these are really important. When I took the Excel exam, I actually ran out of time. So if I used more shortcuts, I think I would have finished on time, or at least had the answer to answer more questions, time to answer more questions. So these keyboard shortcuts are really important, I feel, from an efficiency standpoint, and we include those here. And then as we get into the lesson plan in the back of the workbook here, I'll just increase the text size here. So this is kind of mapping out for you and what I showed in the PowerPoint earlier, kind of mapping out exactly where everything's covered. And we have some teachers, yes, that they go in and add to this and include everything that they want to map and where they want to include which project. So these are all included in the back of each workbook as well. As far as how much time, I think the next question I always get asked, how much time is this going to take? Can I teach it in this amount of time? So at the top of each domain, you're going to see an approximate 5 hours. So that is if your students were to go through every part of the course and every part of the project is roughly about 5 hours. And so if you're going to use that as part of your instruction, then yes, you can include that. All of the time, the workbook time would actually be part of your instruction time, or you can take it even further. So we likely have these down to 5 minutes a piece, but you can elaborate and utilize these projects further if you'd like to, and expand that learning time or the workbook time if you see fit. So that'll kind of map out how long each lesson or domain is going to take. And you can see we have all of these others. We've got communication skills for business and the answer key as well. So you just choose the category depending on what course you're working with. Okay. As far as access codes, when you log in, you're going to see 2 practice tests, or you may even see multiple practice tests or LearnKey licenses. What I normally recommend when you're creating a code for a class period, some teachers choose to go in and create a class period for all 120 students that might be in IC3. That's perfectly fine, and that's easy to manage too. Or you can create a code per class period if you'd like to. And so if you're sharing a license with multiple teachers at one school, then I recommend adding the first 4 letters of the teacher's last name and then whatever class period you want. Because I know a lot of you, I see it, like you'll create these licenses and then a bunch of teachers go in and create all these codes, and then you're kind of trying to figure out whose or what codes. So this is kind of a simplistic best practice to decipher all that. And then second, if your roster says 27 students, we all know we're probably going to have last minute transfer students, somebody drop in, you know, halfway through the semester or halfway through the year. So I would recommend you just bump 35 just to cover any last minute transfer students you may have. This is the only thing that you can't modify once you create this code. You can go in and modify and add different courses later or take off a course, but you cannot modify how many students. And the one thing I'd like to clarify too, when it's coming to creating a LearnKey code, this is per student, not per title or use, if that makes sense. So when we're accustomed to doing a Gmetrics code, it's usually per use or per title. And this one is just 35 students could have access to all 7 Adobe courses or all, 6 Microsoft Office courses. So this is really per student, not per title or code. That makes sense. Second, on the individual or multi-user, if I choose individual here, it's going to create 35 separate codes that I need to keep track of. So I'd recommend a multi-user code, which is one code for all 35 students and for class period 1 now. Okay, I'm going to start with Word, Associate, and then I'd like to work with Communication Skills for Business. So if I have these both on my license, I can just select these and then later come back in and assign Excel or PowerPoint or whatever I would like to have them work on next. As soon as I click confirm, the next step is creating the code and deciding this is the code that I'm going to use for class period 1. So now this is the code that I would then send to all the students for class period 1. Last would be the reporting features. And for those of you who are familiar with Gmetrics, we've got the test reports. And what I've clicked on is reports and then create. And we just want to make sure if you're running this for a LearnKey course, you want to make sure you click on course reports, which is the tab right behind it. We have two options here. Here's a details report. This one, we just want to make sure we backdate the information far enough. So if your students, you're pulling this, say, in December or after winter break, let's see how much activity and what they've completed. Or you can run this weekly. So the only thing to keep in mind, too, is that this is uploading to a database that they need to then back up, because we've got thousands of students in here upon thousands. And these reporting features can be a lot of data and a lot of information. So it is backed up and stored at another location. So that can take up to 24 hours to add in there. So just keep that in mind as you're pulling reports, that it may be delayed 24 hours if you're going to track weekly or daily. So I'm going to backdate this just far enough to grab all the information on who's accessed it recently. So I'm going to pull this just in the last week on the associate. And this now will showcase, it looks very similar to what we see on the student side and broken down by domain. So we can see here, this is a video, this is a lab, and then we've actually got test icons and then a post-test here. So if I click on the test score or percentage, we can see this will give me the same breakdown that I saw on the student side. So this is what you can save for your student file, do a print to PDF, and keep this for your student records if you need to download this. So this is going to outline exactly what they missed per test for you too. Anywhere you see the video in the 100%, that just means they've watched all the video clips. And then how do I export this now? You don't have to copy and paste it. You can export this, and this launches an Excel CVS file so that you can now sort it and add it to Gradebook. The next one is the student progress report. And this one is a little more broken down. So if you have, multiple teachers in different subjects teaching in one school, this allows you to kind of come in and pull it per category too. So I'm just going to backdate this one again, just to showcase information. We can see I've got topics all over the place, from Adobe to MTC. And now I can come in and sort very specifically for Office 2019. Okay. Let's see right here. All right, so now I can come in and pull up the details for this specific student. I think, hang tight here, it's delayed. There it goes. It took a bit. So we've got a lot of students who are enrolled. And we can actually pull up, let's pull up mine. So this is almost like a transcript of sorts of how much time I've spent in Outlook, how much I've completed. So this you can come in and save to a PDF as well, just to showcase what they've completed in the course. And again, anywhere you see this little yellow icon, that's going to showcase that they haven't passed with 80% or higher yet. This also can be exported to a CSV file so that you can import it for grading. Right here also you can add if you prefer them to pass with 90% or higher, so we can go in and sort by percentages if we need to go in and sort that way. So I think that's everything that we were going to cover, at least for today. So I'd like to open it up, Hannah, if we could, to any questions that I may need to address or that we haven't addressed so far.
Yes, so we have a couple of questions that have come through on the chat. One is if there's a LearnKey student portal video that could be shared that showcases how students log in and access all of their material, just a step-by-step guide for those who are going to be utilizing this virtually.
Yes. So right this second, the video that we do have does not address the Chrome compatibility. So actually we will be, I'm going to be putting one together here shortly that we can then send out that it's very specific to Chromebooks and what they're dealing with today. So yes, one will be coming soon. I would say in the next week we could get that out and I can pass it over to you, Hannah.
Perfect. And then I think one of our participants, Kim, did you have a question that you wanted to ask? If you want to go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I accidentally hit that.
Okay.
Well, I like the name.
Yeah, so share that, huh?
No problem. Okay, we did have one other question. Let me just scroll down so that we can see it. Here we go. About a student taking assessments and then for some reason they were not able to finish, but they also received a score. What's the best way to rectify that issue?
So they received a score and they did finish it.
They did not finish it.
Oh, they did not finish it. It shouldn't show up. So make sure that you are pulling it from the course report area. And then I would say if you're still running into issues, we would probably want to email Gmetric support. So I would send that over to them, just give them the code and then the student information, and ideally have them look into the test, because that's really on the technical side that they need to look into why it's submitting without that information, because yeah, it shouldn't be showing up. Or maybe it's showing up in just a percentage like they didn't do anything in it. So if the student's finishing that, ideally they want the finished test to show up as well. Okay. So I would suggest we email Gmetric support to look into that for sure.
Perfect. And then someone else had a question about CSB. Is that available in training and testing mode in Gmetrics?
Yes, I believe so. Let me actually just see if I can find it on mine. They should have training mode and testing mode on CSB, yes.
Perfect. And then where would the student training video be located so that they can share it with their students, or should they share their email address with us so that you can send that out? What's the best way for us to share that with?
You know what I think might be the best thing. I'll see if Gmetrics can load it here on the admin portal so you guys can download it and share it out. Likely what I'll do, Hannah, is also we could create one and then make it almost like a YouTube shareable, and then we could put it on the support page for Certiport. So Perfect. Support for LearnKey would probably be the best place, and then all teachers could share out that same link either through Canvas or share it out to your students.
Wonderful. And we'll share that within the educator community as well, so those on the call or those watching the recording can access that. And then the last question is just where we can access the recording of this. So as soon as this webinar is finished, I will take the recording and upload it to our YouTube channel and post the link to this recording within our educator community. So if you have colleagues or others who would like to be able to watch this webinar, we'll make sure to send that link out so that everyone who's not able to access it live can still watch it later on. Are there any other questions that we wanted to address or have Kim address for us? Wonderful. Kim, thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate it. And like I said, if we have any other questions from the community, just feel free to post those within the group, or you're welcome to email me at hannah.davis@pearson.com, and I will go ahead and answer those for you. So thank you so much, Kim, for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thanks everybody who joined today, and we're here to support you through all of this. I know this is not easy this year, so we're happy to help in any way we can.
Okay, thank you so much, Kim. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
You too. Thanks, Anna. Bye.